Witches' Sabbat. If someone were to tell me a story that happened to me, I would never believe them for anything. Such things only happen in books or movies. On a May weekend, I set out for a fishing trip. In the evening, I loaded my old Jeep's trunk with a tent, sleeping bag, fishing gear, provisions, and set out on the road as dusk fell. I have a special spot in the lower reaches of the river, a couple of dozen kilometers from the mouth. In the evening or at dawn, the fishing there can be so good that you can hardly keep up with the bites. Initially, everything seemed to be going well. By evening, my catch was already filling up the cooler. The only problem was a noisy group that had set up camp not far away, singing loudly to the strumming of a guitar. Fired up with the thrill of fishing, I decided to continue my successful venture and find a more secluded spot. On the horizon, right in the middle of the river, was a large island. I had long wanted to visit it, as its banks covered with willows and reeds seemed enticing. And who knows, maybe the fish would bite there too. The opportunity finally presented itself this time. I deliberately brought my old but sturdy boat from the garage. I took it off the roof of the car and, throwing some simple belongings into the boat, set off towards the mysterious island. By the time I reached it, it was already getting dark. Pulling the boat ashore, I set up the tent, made a small campfire, and cooked a fish soup from my catch. Full of pleasant impressions from such a long day, I decided to take a short nap to wake up early for fishing the next morning. But my sleep was short-lived. In the middle of the night, I unexpectedly woke up to an unsettling feeling. I listened carefully. Strange, incomprehensible sounds were coming from somewhere very close. But who could be on an uninhabited island in the middle of a river at night? Although I'm not easily frightened for some reason. Distant childhood stories from my grandmother came to mind. Tales of Witches' Sabbat, held on May 1st. Smirking to myself, I decided to quietly sneak towards the source of the mysterious noise and find out what was going on. If I had known how accurate my suspicions would turn out to be, I would never have gone there, trying to step as silently as possible, as much as it's possible in the night forest. About 10 minutes later, I found myself on the edge of a large clearing. It was brightly illuminated by candles placed around the perimeter. Inside the circle, a bonfire was burning, and around it, beautiful young girls and women were moving in a counterclockwise circle. There were 13 of them, each with long, loose hair and strangely barefoot, wearing dresses or skirts down to their ankles, something no one wears these days. In one hand, each of them held a cup, and in the other, a knife. Witches' Sabbat echoed in my mind. After completing a circle, each of them approached the bonfire in turn, poured the contents of the cup into the fire. The bonfire momentarily flashed with an incredible raspberry blue color. Then each participant in this ritual, one by one, drew intricate figures in the air with the knife, and they were mumbling something, apparently incantations. What I saw terrified me in a primal way. I wanted to quietly leave this eerie place and get away on my own. But then a birch branch, which I was holding onto, betrayed me with a sudden crunch. Frozen in terror, I suddenly locked eyes with one of these witches, who appeared seemingly out of nowhere right in front of me. What happened next? I don't remember. I woke up in the daylight on the edge of that same clearing. There was no one on it but me. However, the trampled grass and traces of the bonfire indicated that what I saw that night was real.